What's going on, YouTube? Michael R. Schulteis here, author of The Rostoval Saga, which you can see on the shelf behind me. Today I'm coming at you with a review of Tress of the Emerald Sea, Secret Project Number 1 by Brandon Sanderson. I'll caption this one, A Reverse Princess Bride, as told by Brandon Sanderson. And folks, I love everything about that sentence. So, this is the story of Tress, a young lady who lives on an island surrounded by a sea of emerald spores. She likes Charlie, the boy next door, and she likes collecting cups. The trouble, though, is Charlie is the son of the Duke. The Duke decides to take Charlie abroad to find a noble lady, which Tress is not, to marry. And when Charlie is taken captive by the sorceress of the Midnight Sea and held for ransom, well, Tress decides to do something about that. That's the story. That's the setup for the story in a nutshell. Let's change gears and talk about the characters. The most important of the characters, of course, is Tress. Now, I'm usually a Brandon Sanderson character fan. I think he generally does characters very well for my taste. And Tress is case in point. She's a romantic who is willing to brave incredible dangers to try to find and save her love interest, Charlie, and at the same time, she has a salt-of-the-earth quality about her that I think you'll really love. There's also an animal companion, a talking rat called Huck. Huck is a lot of fun. I liked Tress's interactions with him. I like what he added to the story. And then the last character I'll discuss is Hoyd. If you've read some Brandon Sanderson before, the Cosmere novels, of which this is one, you probably have at least an idea of who Hoyd is. Now, the fun thing here is that Hoyd is the narrator of the story, and that allows for some fascinating narrative choices. In fact, I'd call this the most narratively distinct Brandon Sanderson novel I've ever read, and I've read quite a few. The thing is, it works really well for me. As far as I'm concerned, it's interesting. There are some funny and humorous notes as well. So, let's talk about the magic system and the world building, because it's a Brandon Sanderson novel. You have to talk about that. Now, the magic here is based on spores. Different colors do different things when you get them wet. Kind of makes you think of the Gremlins movie, doesn't it? The spores fill entire seas. Thus the title, Tress of the Emerald Sea. And the really fun part is that they come from the moons of this world. They even sail, the people on this world have ships that can sail on them, and the mechanism there is fascinating, and Hoyd explains it all, which actually makes it even cooler. This is classic Brandon Sanderson. If you've read Mistborn, A Warbreaker, Stormlight Archive, you'll feel right at home here. So, who is this book for? I'd say if you're a Brandon Sanderson fan, this is a book for you. Go get it. This story reminded me of why I became a Brandon Sanderson fan in the first place. Now, if you haven't read any Brandon Sanderson at all, you could start here. There are worse places to start. There are better places to start, but you could start here in a pinch. Now, if you're looking for a very dark fantasy, this is not that. If you want a fantasy with a lot of violence, mature content, this is really not that. You could pick up The Altar of My Fate, Book 1 of the Rostoval Saga by a chap called Michael R. Schulteis. Just a suggestion. So, I'll summarize this all up by saying, this is an extremely fun, satisfying, romantic fantasy adventure romp with a lot of heart. This was a page-turner for me, and it's a very well-deserved, very easy 5 out of 5 stars. If Tress of the Emerald Sea sounds like your cup of tea, go check it out. I'll link it below. I'll link my books too, just because. Thanks so much for watching, folks, and I'll hope to see you next time.